To just don't have a man in the house. When daddy is out of the equation because you forced him out, you get YNs. For every action, this is science, y'all learned this in 9th grade. In every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So now you got these kids out here in Pooh Shiesty masks because you have not taught them that they can do something with their hands. You told them to go to college, and I'm sorry, everybody ain't a scholar. My grandfather put 7 kids through college with a 6th grade education just working with his hands. We get off of that because that's not sexy enough. Then you get this propaganda, this person's got to be a high-value man. He got to have 6, 7 figures for you to even look his way. He got to take you on a $300 meal date. The first date, don't know your middle name, your last name, your blood type, or your STD panel. But you want all these things for him. So at the end of the day, what's happened is these YNs are out here robbing you because you did not give them any skills to focus on. You did not give them anything to do. You did not give them any sense of self. You did not build up their self-esteem, and you did not hug your boys. You let your boys run and let the streets raise them, and now you're mad that it's coming home to roost. You did that.
So how do we fix this situation?
First of all, stay out of father's business. Let me give you an example. I have 2 daughters. I know nothing about menstruation. I watch my children come into the world, but I don't know what it is to have the pain of childbirth. I stay in my lane. Protect, provide, back up my wife. If I had sons, my wife would fall back because it is my job, like it was my father's job and his father's job before him, to raise his son into a man. We have taught our children, we have taught society, and we put a battery in our women's back by telling them that masculinity is toxic, that submission is wrong. I got to submit to God. I got to submit to the IRS. You submit to your white-ass boss every single day, but yet and still you won't submit to your husbands. But then you get on these podcasts, you get on these television shows, you watch these reality shows that are scripted, and you sit up there and you say, I want a man who's a provider. No. Your husband is supposed to be a provider. We out of whack. Iyanla Van Zandt told y'all was out of order, and nobody wanted to hear it.
So maybe I feel like with the submission thing, I feel like, because that's like a hot topic on the podcast world with submission, but we keep telling black women to submit to men that don't have their life together.
Who said that?
How can you submit to a man who doesn't submit to God? Everybody's not like you.
I understand that.
You are like in the rare percentage.
I get that.
You must know that there are a lot of black men who don't move like you, who are not successful, who don't want to go to school, who don't want to do anything with their life, who don't have any finances, who don't have any ambition, who have nothing to offer but some dick.
Okay.
So how can we keep telling, and let's talk about it, because let's talk about it. Black women are in record numbers going to college. We're opening degrees. We're getting accolades. We're running nonprofits. There's a large portion of black women who are educating themselves and taking their lives to the next level, while the black men are not reaching those goals. They're not meeting us on those levels.
Black women are the largest group of entrepreneurs. They also have more degrees. There are more black women in the C-suite. And to quote Dr. Umar Johnson, you don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
It's very suspicious.
You don't find that suspicious?
Go ahead.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Black women also have the majority and the highest rate of student loan debt, which means your debt-to-income ratio is shot. Problem number 1. Problem number 2 is you spend all that time getting these things on you and not getting any learning in you. Having more degrees than a thermometer does not mean that you understand the temperature of our people. On top of that, I don't need a degree to tell you I'm a man. Most of my degrees are sitting in the drawer, and the rest of them are at my mama's house in Arizona. I ain't seen them. It don't matter. Everything I learned in college was about happening outside of the classroom.
But you went to college, though.
Hold on.
You went to college, though.
I went to college to please my mother. I had a record deal. I was singing backgrounds for Teddy Pendergrass. Let's tell the whole story, not just the parts you like. And
but you still went to college.
Again, most of us Black men specifically go to college out of pressure from their mamas and their grandmamas, not because it's something to do to better themselves. The school industrial complex is made for black women. There have been several studies on this that talk about how young black boys are automatically labeled as behavior problems. They were labeled as educable, mentally retarded back when Les Brown was in school, and that's going all the way back to the 50s. Then you sit up there and you put them in the programs, then you double down on their reading scores so that you know how many prisons to build. Everything is set up to make sure you rise and think that you are now above us, as opposed to realizing that there's a conspiracy to separate you from me.
So how do we fix it is what I'm trying to get at.
First of all, you sat up there and gave me a 30-minute dissertation on how great black women were doing, but the second I
support my black women, that's all.
I support black women.
I support black men
Here's
too,
the thing. The majority of my clients, the majority of my executive staff, my man Ricardo Cordial, who's been a client of mine for 5 years, he will tell you the majority of the people in my executive team are black women. I have put more black women in the 1% than Nick Cannon with a bag of Viagra. So this is not about supporting black women.
Okay.
There's a woman named Anissa Getna who had a nursing business and she had a credit business, and she went and bought her husband. By the time I was done with her, she went and bought her husband a car dealership, then moved to South Africa. She got an AT&T grant. So when it comes to supporting black women, I don't talk about it, I be about it. So that's not the issue. The issue is we need to fix it by divorcing ourselves from their agenda, which is educate our women, make them feel so high up because they got the C-suite positions, they got the degrees, they got the jobs that they put them in, while they disqualify us, underqualify us, tell us we can't do anything, take all of the skilled labor out, and then when they don't take the skilled labor out, they sit there and then make it look like there's something wrong with that. Even look at the movies. There's been Tyler Perry movies where the dude is a mechanic. The least watched Tyler Perry movie is what? Daddy's Little Girls, because God forbid you see a responsible single father and a baby mama who decided that a drug dealer, a YN, is better than a dude that works hard every day, because that's not sexy enough to brag for your friends. You have to understand that this is a psychological op that is played on so many levels that nobody wants to talk about it. So the solution is we go independent, we reject our trash, we stop taking in every piece of bad bitch bullshit that we get. We start looking at the fact that we don't have one black-owned record company, but we got all these black record labels run by palm-colored people with little hats on the back of their heads telling us how we should operate, and then they sit down with Charlemagne and say, oh, well, I just gotta eat. Leor Cohen, you've eaten, bro. You created a 360 deal. Y'all don't want to do payday loans, but what the hell you think a record deal is?
Talk to me about the 360 deal now.
So